Hello, welcome to another episode of Beer Man's Noble Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Voodoo Brewing Company out of Meadville, Pennsylvania. This is part of their hot garbage set. There's 3 different barrel-aged Imperial Stouts in this. Each one is in a different barrel. There's a double oaked Woodford one, there's a Buffalo Trace one, and then there's Early Times Whiskey one. This is the Early Times Whiskey, the one with the gold and the glitter in it. I think the one that's just gold wax is the Buffalo Trace, and then the one that's gold wax, glitter, and had feathers on it, that was the double oaked. So the story with this, the reason it's called hot garbage, I guess, is they basically just took a bunch of leftover grains they had and made an Imperial Stout base with it, and then put it in these different barrels. I have had the other 2. I have not had this one yet. I couldn't exactly find the ABV on this one, unfortunately, but the other 2 I thought were pretty good. This one I've heard mixed reviews on, so I'm curious how this is going to be. But yeah, that's all I got. So I'm going to crack it open, assuming I can get through this wax pretty easily. Maybe I won't be able to. Usually their wax is pretty manageable compared to some other breweries. But, let's see. I apologize for not having these prepped ahead of time. I wasn't expecting this to be such a problem. And I will say too, I don't know if you're familiar with bourbon. I'm not like, I mean, I like drinking good bourbon. I'm definitely not an expert in it. I definitely know less about bourbon than I do about beer. But I will say, as far as I know, Early Times is definitely not as well respected as Buffalo Trace or Woodford Reserve. So that's what makes me wonder, is it really that the barrel's not as good, or it's just the name? So, because ironically, the best, in my opinion, the best Mexican cake was the Jack Daniels one. Jack Daniels is definitely. Oh, this glitter is gonna go everywhere. I swear they definitely did this stuff on purpose. I just thought of this now. Oh my gosh. Well, obviously they did it on purpose, Big Dipper, but I don't think it's just for show on purpose either. I think it's on purpose to get crap everywhere. Finally. I do apologize for that. That was stupid on my part to not have that prepped ahead of time. Sorry, just trying to get all this glitter together. Never mind. So, you see it pours a really dark, pretty much inky black color with no head. I did pour it pretty lightly though. So the one complaint I had heard about this is it just smelled super hot and barrel forward, but not like smooth or anything like that. I definitely get a lot of oaky vanilla character. I did get some ethanol, but it's nothing offensive. It doesn't sting the nostrils. And I will say there's a ton of like cocoa powder and fudge too. And definitely getting some vanilla too. This smells pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. And I will say, Voodoo's definitely hit or miss, but when they hit, their stuff is just, when there's no additives or anything, it's just, the beer name from side project Beer Barrel Time. That's kind of what some of their stuff is, and it just works. Hmm. So I will say this is one of the more viscous Voodoo beers I've had in a while. Um, some people say that their stuff can be a little on the thin side, which I completely disagree with generally. But this is even more viscous than most of their stuff. I will say that there is some oaky, charry vanilla character, but it's more just a layer on top of a big chocolatey, fudgy stout base, which is pretty nice. Um, there is some like pruny dark fruit notes, but it's pretty minimal. Yeah, I would say this isn't quite as nuanced as some of their other beers that I think are in probably more refined barrels. I know it's probably being stupid and just saying that because of the label, but to me this one just has a lot more of the beer flavor versus barrel. There still is a good bit of barrel, but the beer character is coming through more, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a comparison between the different beers. Um, but it does have a really nice dark chocolate fudgy character, which most of their non-adjuncted barrel aged stouts have, which I appreciate. There is something too that actually reminds me more of apple brandy than bourbon, but I think for me, anytime something's aged in apple brandy barrels, it always comes off as a lot more like general booze flavor than bourbon does for whatever reason. And I am kind of getting that with this, but it's not. I wouldn't really say that there's not really an apple flavor, uh, just that booze character. But I am feeling it in the chest and the throat. I know I said in the aroma I didn't get that much booze, but the more I drink it, I am getting a good bit of it. But that said, it's not really detracting from the beer that much. It's just gonna probably make me drink it a little slower than I normally would. Um, so I still think this is very good. I would say, as far as their barrel aged stouts, uh, you know, the ones that are in these 12-ounce bottles, not like the Grande Negros, the ones that are kind of in that Black Magic lineage, which I would say this is more towards that. Uh, I would I would say this one's probably um, on the lower end, but just below the middle. And just because if you're on the lower end of something very good, you're still probably pretty good, and that's really where this falls. It's still a very good barrel aged beer. I like it a lot, but it's definitely not as good as some of the better Black Magics or Zangief or Aphotic that I've had. So that's where I think it falls in the Voodoo spectrum. But for overall for a barrel aged Imperial Stout, I think it's pretty good, and I think these are generally like $20 a bottle, which is fairly steep. But I do like this enough. I didn't buy this, I traded for it. But if I had the opportunity to purchase this myself, for that price I would buy more of it. So given that, on my scale of buy, drink, dump, I'm going to give this a buy. Another really nice barrel aged offering from Voodoo. And I will say I don't like this as much as the other two they did, but I still think it's pretty good. So I wouldn't necessarily say that they should stop using these barrels forever, but I do think the other ones worked out better. So I think that's all I got on this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.